Hello, welcome to the Veterans Corner. My name is Chuck Wooden and I'll be your host. As always, if you haven't seen the Veterans Corner before, it's a show dedicated to our veterans families, and all those that support the veterans. We have a very good show tonight, a show that we've been actually trying to have on for a long time, the subject matter, and that's service dogs. Now, the foundation is called Forever in Your Heart Foundation, and I'm going to introduce the guests here. We very seldom have this many guests on the show, so bear with me. I'll start from my left. We have Maggie Drag. Maggie's a board member. She's also the owner of the Euro-American Connection Homeware Agency in Berlin, right?
That's correct.
Right? Welcome, Maggie.
Thank you, John.
Sylvia, to my left, she's a board member. I'll come out and say it, you're an add-on, so I don't know, what do you do?
I am independent consultant for energy company.
Okay, it's welcome.
Thanks
for being here. And to my right, we have, I was thinking of the other positions, and I don't think I missed any, right?
No.
Okay. When you're looking at this, the notes, it kind of all runs together. We have Mira Alicki. She is the president and founder of Forever in Your Heart Foundation. And she's also the owner of Mira Jewelry Design in Middletown. Welcome,
Thank
Mira.
you.
And to our far right, last but certainly not least, we have Margaret Mazer. Mazer?
Yes, Mazer, yes.
Yeah, vice president of the foundation, and is the owner of Polmart store in New Britain. Welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
This show is we're closing in. I think this is 95 or 96 as far as shows that we've taped. And believe it or not, I don't think we've done one show on service dogs, and it's certainly been on the list of shows to do. But it's sometimes it's difficult to get folks to come in. But I guess I'll start with you, Mira.
Okay.
Can you tell the viewers a little bit about your foundation and why you decided to start it?
So we're a pretty new foundation, and our goal is we use rescue dogs.
Yep.
We get them as puppies, 6 months old or younger, because obviously a lot of rescue dogs come with problems and issues from the past. Even as puppies, they do. When they're young, we can eliminate any social or environmental problems that they have. But we do test them to see if their personality is capable of being trained for a service dog. And we have kind of two goals. One is obviously to help the veterans, but the other one is to rescue dogs and help rescue dogs. We did a lot of research on service dogs, and we noticed that veterans need them tremendously.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of them coming back, like 1 in 5, I think,
PTSD.
Has PTSD. And, people don't realize how those dogs change their lives. The veterans that are lucky enough to own a dog, because most of them cannot afford the service dog, and there's really not enough of them out there, regardless of the price. Within a couple of years, they lowered their medication use, and a lot of the veterans we spoke to were, home confined, and with the dog, they really go into the world, they get jobs, they finish schools. So those dogs really change their lives and gives them freedom, of normal living.
A lot of us in the veteran community have seen that, how it's affected in a positive way, service dogs. And any of us that have been around for a while, that, in veteran VSOs of service organizations, or, we've seen a lot of veterans that have dogs, and tremendous help.
Yes. Yes, I mean, we have veterans that, just owning a regular dog, helps their emotions, and those service dogs truly makes a difference. So, our organizations raises money to pay for caring and training of the dogs, and 100% of the dogs we trained are donated to the veterans at no cost to them.
Wow. That's a great service. Great service. What's the percentage of the funds that you get from donors? What's the percentage that actually goes back into the organization?
So 100% of the money raised through fundraising or donations goes back to the organizations. We don't have anyone that gets paid. We're 100% volunteer organization. So all the money that we raise or gets donated to the organizations goes back.
That's tremendous. That's tremendous, because there's so many organizations. I shouldn't say so many. There are organizations out there that, they've got a lot of overhead. And it comes out of that.
Sure.
Very seldom do you see an organization that actually, puts 90% going to where it's supposed to.
Yes.
And here you are at 100%.
We put a lot of heart and a lot of time into this organization because it's meaningful to all of us. Yeah. It's meaningful to help people who are in need of the dogs, and we feel that it brings them to society to improve their lives and to have a friend, because it's not having a service dog, it's having a special friend who can be with them in a situation where normally they would never be in a situation. Yeah. So they go back to the society, they go to life, and they can enjoy the life they used to with the help of the dogs, with the help of the special friend that they just found. So it makes, a tremendous difference in someone's life. And like I said, we dedicate a lot of time and energy and our own time into this organization.
Volunteers.
Volunteers.
All volunteers. I was going to let the viewers know that, toward the end here, when we're talking about funding and donations, to keep that in mind, that 100% does go to where you want it to go. How many times we talked to people when we were looking for donations for various organizations, and a lot of times that's the first question they ask.
Yeah.
So that's something that, once again, for the viewers, keep that in mind. This is obviously a stand-up organization, foundation, I should say. So that's great. Foster families. I understand that you utilize foster families. Can you tell the viewers how important it is, how important these families are, in the process of what you do?
So foster families are very important to us, and we're looking for special families, because the families, first of all, they have to have a passion for what we do. They have to have a passion for helping others, and rescue dogs also is important, and also in their heart. So we're looking for those special people who's willing to take those dogs and spend time with them. Spend time once a week. They have to go to a training with the dog, and then continue the training, through the week. And what we do as an organization, we provide food for the dogs and, the trainings, but we're looking for volunteers. And this is, our biggest challenge as of right now, to find those special families who would be willing and able to devote their time, energy to take the dog, help the dog, save the dog's life, and also, the outcome of it is save veterans' life and improve someone's life.
So if I can add to this is that, if there's any veterans out there, they'd be willing to become a foster family, I think it's kind of closer to their heart than just regular people that are not connected with, veterans, to take on the responsibility, because it is about 10 months commitment, to train the dogs. And, it is a lot of dog work, because you have to take the dog to training. We expect them to take the dog to restaurants, because the biggest part of those dogs to pass to be a service dogs, they need to behave and know what to do in any social environment. So taking the dogs to grocery stores, restaurants, anywhere they go, it's a huge part of training, and that falls on the foster families. So not every family, we're not like organizations that looks for foster families that they will foster a rescue dog.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of more work involved with those dogs, and you know, a lot of responsibilities that the foster families will take on. And we can only train right now as many dogs as we have foster families, obviously, because all of our dogs live with foster families.
Yeah, you know, like you said, it's extremely important to socialize them. You know, you know, in all kinds of environments. Now, if somebody wanted to be a foster family, what would the process be?
So they will have to apply. We'll do house visits. You know, we make sure that the environment is right for our dogs. So, you know, if they have other animals or dogs, we want to make sure that they at least obedience trained, so they don't ruin our weekly training of our dogs. You know, and they have to commit to taking the dog to training, mandatory once a week, and you know, they can have you know, family scheduled jobs 10 hours a day that the dog is going to be home by itself, because that's kind of, you know, missing the purpose. So it depends really on their schedule, their family activities, you know, and the household environment. We'll do an interview and a house visit and decide if the family is fit to do the work that we need them to do.
Yeah. You know, you're almost interviewing them to make sure that they're...
Well, we do, because, you know, those dogs come from shelters, so they come with kind of issues, and we don't want the dog to change several families by the time they place with veterans, because, you know, it's hard on them.
You want them to be comfortable.
We want it to comfortable. We want to find them one good family, and you know, then transfer them, you know, slowly with the veteran. You know, ideally would be if we get applicants for service dogs that are capable of taking care of a dog, will be to place the dog with that person as a foster family at first, have them train it, and then, you know, basically transfer it to give them a trained service dog.
That was actually a question that I was going to ask you further down the road. But you know, it's you have a training facility. Where is it?
So our trainers have a facility in Andover, Connecticut, and you know, we are very, very lucky and blessed that we have them, and we partner up with Hop River Shepherds, because the trainers have tremendous experience in training dogs, from police work to competition to service dogs. So it's a really gorgeous facility, but it is an outdoor training facility. For winter and bad weather, we are lucky enough that a farm in Berlin, Matson Farms, donated the indoor training facility that they actually use to train horses, and we can use their facility to train our dogs. You know, so that's where we really train right now. The goal will be for us to raise enough money to build our own indoor training facility, but you know, that's going to be down the road.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously then, you know, that's, I mean, if you got people that donate their space now, I mean, that's a great way to build your foundation up.
Yes.
Now, as far as the trainers, can you tell us about the trainers?
Yes, so we are, I mean, the trainers are our foundation. Without them, we wouldn't exist, because obviously, you know, a lot of goes into training these dogs. So we partner up with Hop River Shepherds. They've been training dogs for years. I mean, I think Scotty's been training dogs for 25 years. They very, very well known, very skilled. They train police dogs, they train dogs for competitions, they do obedience, and they do service dogs training. And you know, what we do as far as training, we'll assess the dog we get, and you know, we start with basic obedience, advanced obedience, while working on the dog's social environment, behavior, and any issues that the dog may have. And once we find a veteran that the dog is going to be paired up with, then our trainers kind of look into the problems that the veteran has, and we start individual training of the dog. Focus on this individual person, on their needs are. So
instead of just giving the veteran a generic dog,
That's right.
No, we do. There's a lot that goes to it. They have to bond. I mean, dogs and people have chemistry just like people do. So we have to see first if, there's a chemistry there, if they bond. And, we don't train the dog and just hand someone a dog. It's a slow transitions. Like the veteran will come in and start training once a week. Then they will take the dog for a weekend. So the dog is not in the stress that he's starting to live with a stranger. We do a slow transition of the dog and the veteran and work with them. And at that point, they get individual one-on-one training. And even after we pair the dog with the veteran, they are required to come back to training for the next 6 months, at least minimum, to make sure that everything is going right.
Follow up.
Right.
Because, the veterans receiving the dog are not trainers. We almost have to train them just like we're training the dog. How to correct the dog and how to work with the dog. So it's a long process.
Now, you touched on the process of the training a little bit. Is there anything else that you want to talk about as far as the training, as far as what it entails?
Well, a lot of the training is really taking the dog in a social environment. So pretty much, dogs usually as a service dogs will never fail on tasks because we can teach the dog to do any tasks, any dog pretty much. Some learn quicker than others, but you can teach any dog tasks. Where they fail is really the social environment and behaviors. So that's where the foster family work comes in. The biggest challenge for those dogs is so they're adapted and know how to behave in any social environment, from trains, buses, restaurants, hospitals, big crowded festivals, a lot of people and noises. That's where the dogs needs to really know and behave and kind of not only behave but take care of the
I was going to say, a lot of the times when you're in big crowds, crowded areas, that's where PTSD takes its toll on a veteran. So
dog has to be calm to keep the veteran calm too.
So that's where it's important, like you said, to make sure the dog is socialized and trained for those areas.
That's right, and that's why it's the commitment from the family to be able to attend to all kind of different life events, not only keeping the dog at home and in very close environment. It's very important for the dog to be exposed, to all kind of different environment, and commitment from the family is important so they can continue with dog, because it's very stressful when we start with a family and they decided to not to continue, and then the dog is kind of have to reteach themselves to adapt to a new environment, to new family, to new personalities, because it's a life partner for someone. So it's important that when we're matching dogs, we're matching personalities of the dog and the veterans, because it's a life partner.
And you want to make sure that partnership is long lasting.
That's correct.
Because I'm sure down the road, if a service dog was with someone for 5 years and all of a sudden, is that dog actually trainable for someone else?
Dogs really bond with people, and those service dogs pretty much spend 24 hours with that person. So, to take this dog out of the environment and put a new environment, it's a long process to be retrained. And a lot of times, they're really heartbroken and they cannot be retrained to work like that. They'll be somebody's pet, but, they cannot be retrained to a service dog.
As we're talking, it was just something that popped into my head, because it's you're talking about matching up and life partner, and then all of a sudden when you take split them,
it affects them. It affects them.
It affects them. And it's so funny, because even with the foster families, we have foster families, and they say this dog needs to go to this household and live with this person. They know. They spend so much time with those dogs. They know the dog's personality, and they know which environment the dog is gonna do great and which one he shouldn't go. So they ahead of the time, even that the dog is not really matched with anybody, they already know what kind of family the dog should end up with. So.
Obviously the foster families play a very, very important role. They're
huge.
That's right.
Without them, you wouldn't have that feedback.
Absolutely.
Now, you had touched on if a veteran had their own dog.
Yes.
Yes, so go ahead.
Yes, if the veteran has his own dog, we offer the service to evaluate the dog, first of all, if the dog can become the service dog.
Yeah.
And if so, then we offer a 10th-month classes, weekly classes, or they could be individual classes or group classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also we were approached by many people that actually have the service dog, that they liked how we train our dogs,
Yeah.
and they wanted to have their dogs trained the same way. So that's our goal in the future, to expand.
Well,
on
I
that.
guess what happens is a lot of people get service dogs from other state far away, like Texas or any other state, and they don't really have a support system in Connecticut. And and sometimes those dogs needs to be corrected or something happens, so we get a lot of phone calls from people that have service dogs that need to be retrained, and we get phone call from people that have their own dogs that they would like to be trained for service dogs. So we kind of created a program to offer the services.
Margaret, you had mentioned group training or individual training.
Right.
Does it depend on the dog itself, how they react? Is one better than the other?
No, it depends basically, yes, it depends what dog needs.
Yeah.
Sometimes the dog needs the individual attention and needs more training till the dog can work in groups.
Yeah.
So sometimes the group helps too.
Yeah.
How we go. So.
And I'm sure in the groups it helps them socialize better.
Right.
Sure.
Well, the dog has to behave in a group with 20 other dogs around him and listen and not pay attention to the other dogs.
Can't be distracted.
Right.
But if the dog has specific issues, you need to really have, one-on-one lessons to correct those issues.
To bring them around so they can be in a group.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Problem child.
Yeah.
What applications or areas? We've talked about PTSD, but is there other applications that you use the dogs for?
So our particular foundation will train the dogs for mobility or PTSD or any other mental disability. So that's what we specialize with, and that's what we train. We don't do guide dogs. We don't, we kind of focus on mental and mobility.
Yeah. Which obviously, when you're dealing with veterans, that's a key area that you got to focus on. I told you guys that this is more than, in my eyes, a 2-part series. Who would think that this would go by so fast?
Yes.
25 minutes, for some guests, it's an eternity, but it's not. I just got the 3 minutes, so we're probably at 2.5 minutes left. So what I'll do is I'd love to have you guys back.
We'd love to be back.
We'd love to be back.
We'd love to be back.
We could we can really go into more detail. There's other questions that I'd like to ask you. I know you got fundraising. We certainly need to talk about that.
Yes.
Right now, if any of our viewers, they want to be donors, volunteers, or veterans in need.
Yes.
How would they get in touch with you?
So they can go to our website, which is foreverinmyheartfoundation.org. We are on Facebook, also Forever in My Heart Foundation. Email info@foreverinmyheartfoundation.org or 860-490-2170. We can be contacted by phone as well.
If you didn't get a chance to write that down, you can certainly get a hold of me here at NutmegTV or on our Facebook page. I'll give a little plug for that. The Veterans Corner CT. That's our own personal Facebook page. And I'll make sure that I put that information. Actually, I already have your information on there, I think. So, volunteers are needed. I know that's a big thing that that you guys are focusing on. I could keep talking, and I know you can, but I'm being told to to wrap it up. That's my bosses are talking to me. So, with that being said, it was really great to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's this is a great venue for exposure for you, and I know that working together we can definitely get the word out for you.
We appreciate all your support.
Yeah, and it's only the beginning. So, whether you like it or not, you'll be back here again, talking to us and getting the word out. With that being said, we really have to wrap it up. Special thank you to the guests, our sponsors, and that's about all the time we have. I want to thank you, the viewers, for watching. Continue to watch the Veterans Corner. I'm Chuck Wooden. See you next time on the Veterans Corner. Good night.